A public library is closed. A community swimming pool is shut down. County and state services are cut back. This is the reality in towns, cities, and states across America. Libraries, swimming pools, and public services are being cut back or eliminated because county and state budgets are being crushed under the burden of sky-high Medicaid bills. The pace of public facility closings is rising because every year, more and more for-profit insurers are refusing to pay claims for which they are responsible. This shifts the financial burden to state and local government officials who have to balance their budgets by reducing services. Do we need more uniform legislation among the states to make sure that those who are responsible to pay for health care do so? It's also a fact that many Medicaid beneficiaries also have commercial insurance coverage. This is a major challenge for medical care providers and taxpayers because commercial insurers pay better than Medicaid, which pays only 30% or 40% of the cost of care. That means that medical providers lose money when treating Medicaid patients, and taxpayers lose too because health care providers are footing the bill that should have been paid by for-profit insurance companies. Over $60 billion tax dollars is spent every year on health claims that should have been paid by private insurers.
To the extent that Medicaid is paying bills that others are legally obliged to pay, they are in essence overpaying. And the consequence is that taxpayers are paying billions of dollars every year in claims that they should not be paying. The similarity, I think, to tobacco is that in a somewhat different venue, you had a situation where taxpayers, again, were paying Medicaid bills that they weren't really responsible for, and the producers of tobacco were responsible for it, and they got sued, and then they had to pay the money.
A survey done by the Government Accountability Office in 2006 proves the point. 15% of the Medicaid population had commercial insurance coverage, but taxpayers paid the bill. That means that commercial insurers are dodging $64 billion a year just in the Medicaid program. Nationally, the money wasted by public health plans would pay for 5 million college educations per year, or restore funding to those closed county libraries, pools, and community services. All the prior efforts to create transparency of coverage and primacy have been frustrated by the insurance industry, even though Statute 18, USC 1035, makes it a felony to conceal material information from a health plan. Clearer state laws and reliable enforcement of existing penalties, including 1035, will be necessary to achieve fiscal integrity in Medicaid.
My understanding of 1035 is that it is a felony statute which provides a felony remedy for not telling the truth or willfully withholding information that has been requested. So that if a state government requests information from let's say a commercial carrier, and for some reason they choose not to provide it, then there is a penalty that is a felony attendant upon that.
No one knows the rate of interstate coverage, but it is commonplace for employers to have employees in multiple states. For example, one of New Jersey's largest hospital systems billed 2,406 separate health plans in 2005, of which only 204 were licensed in that state. If our hospitals and medical providers cannot rely on enforcement of the messaging requirements in the other states as well as in New Jersey, the probability of billing errors, much of which then hit the state budget, is very high.
If you're simply doing it on a state-by-state basis, in all likelihood, quite a few claims would still fall through the cracks, and we need to have, we need to have federal action, which would be applicable in all 50 states, and we need to have uniform action taken by the states so that there's a reciprocity between the states in enforcement. Everybody will gain, and there'll be a tremendous economic advantage.
State leaders and legislators can work together across America to develop legislation that is enforceable from coast to coast. If an insurance carrier is responsible to pay for health care service and they are based in another state, they should not be exempt from paying a patient's health care bill or hide from responsibility to pay. Uniform and reciprocal legislative language needs to be in place in every state so that insurance providers pay the bills they owe instead of passing them on to the government and taxpayers to pay. Working together, We can begin to solve the problems now if we act now. Elected leaders and state officials have a role to play in saving taxpayer funds, returning accountability to government-sponsored health plans, and holding private insurers accountable. We must restore fiscal integrity to our healthcare system. Stopping the taxpayer subsidy of private health insurers will restore billions of dollars every year to government-funded health care. 10 years after the enactment of HIPAA, the medical community continues to struggle with implementation of these federally mandated requirements. The volume of patients and the complexity of admitting, claims processing, procedure coding, balance billing, and state prompt pay requirements all add substantially to the administrative costs of hospitals, clinics, and group practices. By automating everything, all a hospital has to do is enter in a person's information, and within seconds, the hospital will know which insurance plan covers the individual. These innovative processes will cut the 20-minute overhead and insurance verification process to a matter of a few seconds.
Well, the benefits to the state of participating in a program like this are obviously the financial ones, for not having to pay for services that they are currently paying and having commercial insurers own up to their responsibility. And for the kind of money that we're talking about, it could be significant in addition to the money that they will save going forward. We have available to us a process that is simple and straightforward that would save everybody a lot of effort and money and allow us as a community, a larger community, to reallocate resources in a way that would be more beneficial to everybody. Very often, a company will look at what the penalty will be if they do not participate, and if the penalty is severe enough that it's going to cost them more by not participating, then I think they will figure out pretty quickly that not only will it help them administratively, but it will save them very significant penalties.
I think when you look at the issues that we're talking about here today, you quickly conclude that basically every elected official at certainly the state and federal level has a fiduciary duty to protect the taxpayers' money and to make sure that it is allocated in an intelligent way and spent in an intelligent way. And it's more than just it's a good idea or it's sound public policy or this will get votes, although all those may be true. But there's an actual duty imposed on public officials to protect taxpayer dollars.
By instituting a uniform system of legislation among the states with reciprocal language, we can enforce provisions which require insurers to pay for the health care services to which patients are entitled. It's time for federal, state, and local leaders to work together so that patients are served, money is saved, and bills are paid by those who are responsible to pay them. Here's what needs to be done. We should check patient eligibility instantly at the point of service. Fact: roughly half of all patients present themselves at admitting hospitals and the offices of medical health care providers without any proof of insurance. We should use state-of-the-art solutions at the point of patient admission to reduce patient admitting times and identify and rank elements of the patient's coverage. Using paperless billing methods will mean fewer manual claims processing, leading to lower costs, higher accuracy, and improved cash flow. We should also automate the business processes of healthcare finance that are impossible or impractical to do by hand. This is done with systems that use the most advanced methods to assure fiscal integrity, which reduces their operating costs. Experience has shown that serious penalties for non-compliance, reliably enforced, and reciprocity by other states will be necessary to assure commercial payer compliance and a level playing field in the insurance market.